Hey guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today it is time for a slightly different April TBR. So this is quite a different kind of TBR because I have 3 separate TBRs for the month of April and I can only share one of them with you today. So I have a secret TBR that I'm doing in April, I have this TBR that I'm sharing with you today, and I have my magical hopathon TBR which I will be sharing with you in a separate video so we can go through prompts, we can go through how I want to go about my time in the Disneyland Paris parks. And I mean, if you don't know what the magical hopathon readathon is, then you can either look it up now or you can wait until my TBR goes live, because we'll be talking about the magical hopathon a lot in the month of April, but it's not its time to shine today. Today we're talking about what I'm reading outside of the magical hopathon. So that's why this video is slightly different, because I normally just have 1 TBR and this month I have 3. So if you guys like seeing TBRs and wrap-ups, then I have playlists dedicated to the both of those videos that you guys can go and check out. They're all displayed on my channel homepage, or you can just go through my playlists. So if you like this kind of content, do feel free to look at those. I also make sure that I post them at least once a month. In the case of this month, you'll be getting 2 TBRs. So do feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below to stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. And also do feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter, so you can see what I'm reading as I'm reading it, how I'm reviewing it as I'm reading it, so you don't have to wait like a whole month to see what I'm reading or how I'm reviewing it. Just a thought, it's a quicker way of seeing what I'm thinking of my books. And yes, this is going to be a very short TBR video because I don't want to overload myself. In total, across the 3 TBRs that I've set myself, I think I have about 12 books to read in the month of April. It's probably not gonna happen, and that's why this TBR is so short. So without further ado, let's get into the books. So this first book I have been trying to read for many a month. In fact, there's 2 books on this list that I've been trying to read for many a month, but this first one I feel like I've made more of an effort to try and read it. It's been on multiple TBRs. I started reading it, I got part of the way through it one time, and then my mood wasn't quite there, so I gave up on it. And we're now like very much into spring, we're in British summertime. I'm reading this book at the wrong time, but I really want to make progress with this series. I really want to finish this book, and that is The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. This is the Bear and the Nightingale sequel, the Winter Night Trilogy Book 2, however you want to look at it. This is The Girl in the Tower. I really enjoyed The Bear and the Nightingale when I first read it. It's very cozy, very wintry. It's like a perfect December TBR book, but I don't want to wait until the end of the year to make progress on this trilogy. I would very much like to have this trilogy crossed off my list before June, so I have 2 months to read the next 2 books, and that is why this is like a bit of a priority book for the month of April. I would just really like to get this done. So The Bear and the Nightingale follows our main character Vassia from childhood through to like adolescence. She has the ability to see spirits and it tends to freak a lot of people out, and Katherine Arden very much plays on this like paganism versus Christianity motif throughout the book, and using Vassia's power to do that. This book is very entwined with religion. You may like that, you may really hate that. Obviously religion can be quite a divisive thing, especially in fantasy books, but I love reading about religion in fantasy books. I even like it a little bit more if it offers a critique on religion. I really am looking forward to going into this book. I do think that it's going to be super cozy and wonderful when I get into it. It might be the wrong time of year for it, and if the sun comes out again then I'm probably not going to be in the mood for it. But hopefully the vibes of the book will like carry it through for me. Like hopefully I'll just get so lost in it that I'll love it, and I have heard people say that this was their favourite one in the trilogy, but this book is just so much shorter than the first one, and Vassia is going to be a little bit older. It centres more around her time in Moscow than it does her time in this little northern village in Russia, and so I'm just excited to get into this book, and I really, really want to cross it off my list. And so following on from that, we have a book that I 110% will not finish this month, but if I don't keep putting it on my TBRs, or if I don't start putting it on my TBRs, then this book will never ever ever get read. And I think in a weird way it might be quite nice to have a book on my TBR that I know I won't finish this month. Like, you know, sometimes when you're like, oh, I want to pick up a book but I don't have the time to finish it, or you know, like if it's getting close to when the magical hopathon starts, so I don't want to start a new book, or I don't want to go into my magical hopathon TBR early, I can just pick up this book that I've already started but have no intentions of like needing to finish it soon. And that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This was gifted to me by a friend who absolutely adores the TV show, and I really, really want to give this book a fair shot. I am 138 pages in, and what I remember of I remember everything that happens in this book and what or that I've read so far of this book, and I remember that once I would pick it up and be reading it, I would really enjoy myself. Like, this is a very heavy book. The way it's written is not that accessible, it's quite difficult to read, but like once you're in it, you're very much like in it. Like, I had no trouble reading it. I just, you know, I clearly put it down at the 138 page mark. It's literally in the middle of a chapter too, and I must have just not wanted to pick it up again, picked up another book, and now 6 months later, here we are. But I do want to make progress with this series. I have a little bit of an obsession with Scotland. I've heard that the books are an acquired taste, but they are a taste that I would very much like to acquire, okay? I just like to be someone who's read Outlander, and it's such a big series that I think it would be such an accomplishment to finish it. So I'm putting this one on my TBR, because if I even read like 100 pages of this, I will be happy, and I will like consider that like the chunk of this book like read for the month. I think going forward, this book will just have to be on every TBR as like an 100 pages a month kind of thing. Maybe I will eventually get so into it that I can't put it down and it will be my primary read. But for now, I'm quite content to just have it be a book that I read a little bit of every single month. Either way, I've started it and I'm not making any progress with it, so let's just stick it on this TBR and see what happens. Oh, if you don't know what Outlander is, it is on Amazon Prime, I believe. It's a massive TV show. It is doing really, really well. But it is based on these books. It is about our main character Claire in 1946, and she has just gotten married and she is in Scotland on her honeymoon, except she accidentally transports herself to 18th century Scotland, where she encounters her husband's ancestor, who is not the nicest man in the world. And it's about her managing this timescape, trying to get back to her present time. That's really all I know, is that it's Scotland and time travelling. I didn't really think that it was something that I would be interested in, but I do trust my friend. We have the most similar tastes on everything, so I want to at least get a good chunk of the way into this book before I start the TV show. I just want to give it another go. And then the final thing that I have here is my Kindle, which can only mean one thing. It's gonna be a smutty romance this month. I'm in a horrendous romance mood. It started with The Love Hypothesis, and then I started watching Bridgerton season 2, and so now we're on to Regency romances, and I just kind of want to keep going. Most romances I can read in like 1 or 2 sittings because I find them so fun and I love them, so I think it would be quite fun to have some romances on this TBR. And I will probably purchase them on my Kindle because then they will just be like right there ready for me. I'm thinking of reading Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, maybe purchasing the first Bridgerton book, maybe going for the next Tessa Dare book. I will just be browsing Amazon for romances. I'll probably be watching a lot of Chandler Ainsley because she has really good romance recommendations, particularly smutty ones, which is what I'm in the mood for. If you guys have any romance recommendations then that are cheap on Kindle, this is what I love about Kindle as well, is that they're usually very cheap. Please leave your suggestions down in the comments section. I will read any and all romances. I have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover here in paperback form. I know that there's a big debate over whether this should be classified as a romance. From what I've heard of this book, we probably shouldn't classify it as a romance. And I've heard really good things about this book, but I'm very scared. This is very outside of my comfort zone. It obviously deals with some really heavy topics. So maybe I will pick this one up if I'm in the mood for it. I did get really in the mood for this book when I was doing my latest 24-hour challenge. I was kind of hoping you guys would vote for this book, but you did not. So there we have this one as an option as well, but I'm not firmly putting it on my TBR. This can just go in the romance category of options. So all in all, yes, if you could leave me some romance recommendations for me to purchase down in the comments section. I loved The Love Hypothesis. I loved Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I love romance. I'm so obsessed with the romance books right now. I'm currently in the middle of 2 of them. It's all I want to read. So yeah, the Kindle has made a return. I pretty much only use this for romance books because I don't want to carry around a book with a naked man on the cover. I hope that it goes well. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. And so this is my whole TBR. At least the one that I can share with you right now anyway. My Magical Hopathon TBR will be kind of the priority. I'm really excited for the round 2 of the Magical Hopathon, so that is the TBR that will be getting the most love because we're going to go through the prompts, we're going to go through the plan of it, we're going to go through the P of A of what we're going to do when we get to Disneyland. And so these are just kind of ones that I'm going to read probably in the couple of weeks prior to the Magical Hopathon starting and maybe afterwards. But as I said, I do have a secret TBR as well that I obviously cannot tell you about because it's a secret, but I want to. But you guys will see it when that vlog goes live. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, then do let me know down in the comments that you did, whether you like these books, what you think of these books. Leave me your romance recommendations, and do feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below to stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you are enjoying everything that you are reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future. And I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.